All right, I was talking to Fritz yesterday on the phone, and he suggested that this is a video that needs to get put out there. The question is, how do you know that you have a piece that's bronze? So, what is bronze? How can you identify it? Is there a way to keep from getting ripped off? Because even with somebody like me that works this metal and knows enough about it, I can be duped, and I was. This past week, I bought two different pieces. Both of these guys came off of Flea Bay, and another piece was First Dibs, but we're not going to talk about that one. The first one was this small little girl lamp, Art Nouveau, about 100 years or so. Back then in Austria, they were known for doing painted patinas. So you got to kind of be careful. You can never go by the look of the metal as to what it actually is. When I bought her, the top of it was all crushed down, almost all the way, and her umbrella was broken off inside. And I said, oh, that's no problem. It's bronze. I can go ahead and fix it. Bronze welds and sands and works and patinas, just fantastic. Unfortunately, by the time you find out whether or not if that piece really is what it is, you're not going to be able to return it back to the seller. He's not going to take it and say, hey, there's a puddle on the bottom of it. Uh, so I unboxed the thing, and the first thing I noticed was awful light. It didn't really have a lot of weight. Well, okay, maybe that's the case. It's very, very, very thin, and good quality bronze pieces are known to be very thin. They're not big and chunky. So if you're creating bronze, keep that in mind. Try to work towards the goal and make yourself learn how to cast it very thin, thin enough where there's enough material there to work if you have to. But that is a way you can tell a real high quality bronze piece is that it won't weigh 50 tons, but it's going to be nice and thin and done correctly. So I take and I bead blast the patina off of this thing, and then I go to repair the crack on the back, and I take and I light up with it on a TIG torch. This is really the only way that you can be 100% sure that you either have bronze or brass. Maybe you are capable of welding brass. This guy is not. When you light up with a TIG torch on a piece of brass, it will pop and sputter and spit and hiss and smoke and make you sick. You get to fume fever, and that's because of the zinc that's burning off. The zinc melts 700-800 degrees, whereas the metal itself is probably 1700-1800 degrees where it'll start to pool. So by the time you get into the metal and get the metal where it's starting to flow and you can add filler rod, sorry, you've already burnt all the zinc out of it. And that is a real big problem when it comes to brass. So the only way that this guy is capable of fixing brass is by using Safety Silv 45 on recommendation from a gentleman down in Jacksonville that does a lot of brass work, and he's really good at it. I don't really like brass, as everybody already knows. I don't cast it. I don't even really like repairing it, but you got to do it. So that's when I found out that this piece was actually brass. Spoke to the seller, and it was tough luck. So we're going to do him a little favor, and that right there, that's the seller's name. So if you see him on eBay, I would leave him alone. I'm just going to leave it at that. Furthermore, continuing on, this is a TITZE piece. Mr. Lion back here, this is heavy. This is also a piece by the same artist. And this is most definitely bronze. I'll give you a little closer look of him. I'm sorry it's a little dark in here tonight. Looking at the bottom of it, it is bright yellow, just like the little girl lamp is. Big difference is that this thing is very, very heavy. It looks like it's wearing a nice liver of sulfur patina, and they took and they highlighted some of the areas. And it's kind of funny, even on the back of his head, some of the patina has been rubbed off. So I imagine many people thought it was fun to pet the lion, I guess. Now, you can take and verify for sure, and I've already done this to this piece, and I know without a doubt that it is bronze, one, because it's very heavy, and two, I lit up with it on a TIG torch, and it didn't smoke and hiss and fume at me. So he is definitely bronze, and she is definitely brass. I buy bronze in ingots like this. What is bronze compared to what is brass? Remember that bronze is about 94% copper, 4% tin or pewter, about 1% manganese, and then some other trace elements. There might be a little bit of lead and some other things when you look at the reports. When you look at brass, brass is in the same family, and then the rest of it is zinc. And that is the big difference. Zinc is very, very cheap. It's so cheap, in fact, your tire weights in your car are probably made of zinc. You'll see them and they say a little ZN on it. Some people like working it. I don't. I buy all my metal through Industrial Metal Supply, and they are found in the California area. I think they're in the Phoenix area, and all of their ingots. This one weighs about 16 pounds. All of their ingots will have the CMX stamp on it. And in addition, you ask for the papers when you buy it. Say, I want the purity reports for the ingots. They are not numbered, but they will give you what CMX provides them. And in addition, you also get the most important thing is a receipt. I don't know if you saw in the news this past week, some absolute scumbag up in the Northeast decided to rip off 3 bronze 9/11 memorial plaques. You can't really get much lower than that. That's pretty sad. Now, what is this guy going to do with them? He's certainly not going to take them to a scrapyard because no scrapyard would touch them. Maybe he's going to melt them down and turn them into art. Again, very, very low. So do yourself a favor. You can make your own bronze. You can get copper and you can get some pewter. And you can tell me that it's bronze, and that's fine. It's a variant of bronze. The problem that happens once you go through all of that work and you've used some kind of homemade brew is repairing it later. If you have to take and do any welding or attach it together, I sure hope that you remember to pour yourself some real skinny rods, because I have found that TIG welding wire from Airgas silicon bronze that they sell is a dead ringer for the CMX metals. I can take and carve out a piece of bronze, use their TIG rod, weld it up, sand it back, smooth it out, polish it, put a high polish on it, and you can't see where the weld or the repair was made. And that, to me, makes worth spending $6.50 a pound for this metal. The best money you'll spend. And that's about it. So I guess if you guys have any questions, if you come across a piece or something and you'd like some advice, I'll do the best I can. But it is buyer beware. Even somebody like me that does this stuff quite a bit can get more or less ripped off. Fortunately, I don't really have a whole lot of money in her. I think she's absolutely adorable, and it's going to make a nice piece. Not only do I make bronze, but I'm sort of a beginner collector. And as you know, I'm kind of fond of the Art Nouveau alien look. Alrighty, so that's about it. Thanks for watching, and stick around. We've got more bronze work coming up pretty soon. We've got some airplane tchotchkes I've been working on, and a little bit of glass work. I am not casting glass anymore. That has been solved, and it turns out that the glass that I'm looking for is actually pressed. So I'm going to end up having to cast a negative mold and learn how to take and gather glass, press it, get it off, get it in the kiln. That ought to be an adventure. Not sure if you're going to end up seeing my failures on that one, but thanks for watching. Take care.